Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back with our third recording in this recording session, and we still really haven't gotten anywhere. Ooh, I'm going to probably, after this session, just give up. Let's try something here. Let's just play the Warlock. 5 games of the Warlock. Maybe we can get that quest done, and then at least I can work on potentially off-screen getting the other games done. Obviously we're not making a lot of profit. Progress. Not making a lot of profit either.
Gul'dan versus Jane.
I don't know if I said I gotta watch
You
and
asked
learn.
for it.
That's where I got that.
Shall be
Yeah, I think I
mine.
mentioned that. Yeah, that would make sense. I wish that wouldn't happen as much, honestly. It's getting too frequently. I mean, I like it. It's great and all, but every time I get a watch and learn, then that's one less video that I have to put up. And I'm running short on videos, actually. Now, of course, when I have this situation and I don't make any progress, then that potentially helps me a little bit, but not by a lot. Hit me in the face twice, please. Good. Darn it! Hit me in the face 3 times. Oh, I hate you. I hate this player already. So, one of the things I think I should kind of do, well, I don't know if I should do this or if I shouldn't do this really, is that I have gone and looked at some Netflix things, and because I looked at some Netflix things, there are some things, some movies to talk about. So I watched a documentary. Actually, I mispronounced it. Documentary. I don't know if I can pronounce it correctly anymore. Actually, deal 2 to 4 damage or destroy this. That was the right move. Yeah, you want to destroy a friendly minion and ensure you got rid of that guy versus potentially getting rid of that guy. Anyways, I watched the doc that was called Black Star, I think, and it's on H.R. Giger, who is most famous for doing the artistic style for the Alien movie, and thus technically everything that followed from the Alien movie. So Alien, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, which I think was 4, and Prometheus, and technically even the sequel to Prometheus, although he is dead now, so his influence is, after the first movie, is kind of not a lot. It's just his artistic style. Well, I guess I'll do this, why not?
Job's done.
So his artistic style is very much macabre, very heavily in shades of black, not even gray. Just sometimes you get white and it's gray, mostly black. D-Doc, I'll just stop trying to pronounce it. Did a decent job of showing him as a person that is very much terrified of death. That is probably why he did all the artistic areas things. He showed like a skull that he was given when he was 11 years old, and how he would drag it around on his horse to prove he wasn't afraid, but really he wasn't. It was nice to see his house, which is the house of a person who's obviously a little weird, if not straight up insane. can I do here?
Fine, I'll heal.
If I did this, it would kill everything, but I'd still lose, so I have to do this.
Well played.
Deal 4 damage, discard a random thing. This is strange. I'm gonna end up doing this, but alright. Doesn't matter, I'm still lost. So it was a good doc. It talked about like he had like 2 or 3 wives, and didn't seem like they had any hugely big, salacious things to say. It seems like by the time they'd made the documentary, he seemed to have emphysema or lung cancer or something, and probably a little bit of dementia too. And so I have no idea who he was in earlier time. They didn't have any really earlier footage. They only had if I hadn't summoned that, maybe I could have summoned this and then attacked that, but I would have still lost. Doesn't matter.
Fine, I'll won.
So I have no idea what he was like in his youth, and from the movie, and nothing really happened in his life that was super super interesting. It's like, funnily enough, the most interesting thing about him is his art, which is probably true for a lot of artists, and that doesn't make for a great story. One of his wives suffered from depression and did kill herself. He painted around her, of course, and it's possible, very possible, that the paintings he painted of her, around her, actually worsened her condition.
Fine,
That's believable. That totally makes sense. So he felt guilty about how potentially he may have pushed her over the edge.
Job's done.
That sucks, and that's terrible. But I really don't blame him, because there was no intention there, and if I can be magnanimous enough to say, yeah, he didn't seem like the type of person that could in his mind hold a hatred of another person enough to want to do harm to them. Sadly, because of his ailing health, he really didn't go into like any kind of explanation
You're in trouble now.
or descriptions of his art. They showed a lot of his art. He had a lot of people around him helping him. He had a lot of people who loved him and was helping him, which is nice, but he inherited a lot of stuff from his family, and that's how he afforded it. Ironically, he never really had it. He was never really rich, because he would spend every dime on his art, which, I mean, you know, that's what a true artist would do in my book, is they would be a starving artist. So, I guess it's a fine documentary, I'll say it. Some people can laugh at me. But inherently, there was nothing that was said about his life that made it much. It did interest me. Like, one of his art books is called the Necronomicon, and I would love, just for the wordplay of that, to have the H.R. Geiger's Necronomicon, and then put it right next to the Necronomicon edition of Evil Dead, and then there probably are some other books called Necronomicon too, so it'd be really fun.
Cards.
What's he doing? Is he gonna kill himself? guy doing? I have no idea what he was doing, if he was just playing around, trying different ways to see if there was some way to kill that guy, because there really is no way to kill the Dark Steed without silencing it first. It's a pretty overpowered card. But it only is a 1/1 attack, and that's why it's so overpowered. As far as its ability to come back to life after it dies. So, yeah, I'd say watch the doc if you're a fan of H.R. Giger's, you want to see more of his art. I think you probably shouldn't spend any money to watch the doc. Instead, go buy his books and support his estate. He still has at least one wife to support. I don't know if he ever had children or not. That's the kind of things that you kind of wish were more laid out, but I assume since they didn't show his children that he didn't have any. But that may not be the case. I'd have to go look at Wikipedia, and that's really where the doc, I suppose, fails, and is probably not worth your time, is that if I have to go to Wikipedia to look up a subject for basic things, like do they have children or not, you've not filled it. There is a museum that might be worth looking at that he built, but even the museum it's in Germany, and because he's German, the whole movie was subtitled from German, but the museum looks more like a art studio. It doesn't look like it's that big. And of course he sold a lot of his pieces, I'm sure. Well, I doubt he kept everything that you could see it. And he does a lot of art books too, so if most of his things too. Most of his art is done by painting and art things, and drawings. That's not a lot of pieces that can be put in a museum easily displayed. You need a lot of wall space. Let's see. Discard a random card. Have this minion
will regret this. You will regret this.
Yep. So yeah, probably not worth watching, but I'd maybe fast forward to it. Then I watched a movie called, I believe, Red Lights, where it's a fictional movie of a group of investigators that are trying to investigate.
Have enough mana.
Let's see. Let's pull this guy out and just
You're
hope
in
it doesn't.
trouble now.
Aw, darn it. That's the exact one I didn't want.
Job's done.
So it's a group of investigators that basically debunk psychics, and throughout the movie, the B story is, at the beginning, is that there's this one guy who seems like he really does have psychic abilities, and they can't bust him, and the main head investigator doesn't want to get anywhere near him because she thinks he's dangerous for some reason. And then the young guy does want to go after him, and eventually the main investigator dies, and there's some question whether the psychic, the guy they're investigating actually can psychically kill people, and may have actually killed her. And then there's a big reveal at the end, spoiler alert, about who the psychic is, because all throughout the video, the movie, all more and more crazy stuff keeps happening, and it starts to get to the point where it's like, this guy has to be psychic. This isn't tricks. All of the things that you see them investigate are actual magic tricks, for lack of a better term, that have been well debunked, and everybody in the know knows exactly how they all work. Let's see.
I am freed from the curse.
And because of that,
Fine, I'll want.
like, it's kind of funny. It's a great movie to watch right after you watch the documentary of, again, I'll say this word improperly. I just haven't said that word out loud enough in my life is the problem, and I've said it wrong jokingly too many times to the point where I can't say it right.
Fine, I'll heal.
But there's one of, I can't remember, An Honest Liar. That's the name of it. If you go watch that documentary first, then you watch Red Light, you'll see it's the exact same tricks. They basically are referencing that.
You're in trouble now.
They're referencing An
Fine,
Honest Liar
I'll want.
Take this blade.
in Red Light. The only difference is in An Honest Liar, that's a doc and it's dealing with reality, so there has never and probably will never be anyone proved with psychic abilities. And in the movie, someone in the movie, spoiler alert, does have psychic abilities. Which I'm probably spoiling even more than that just by saying that.
Why do you call?
But yeah, I enjoyed it. As a person who considers himself somewhat skeptical, I think as a fictionalization, I love it when
I am freed from the curse.
when they fictionalize things like that.
Well played.
Destroy a friendly minion, deal damage to everybody. Okay.
Fine, I'll want. Fine, I'll want.
Am I gonna win here? I don't know if I'm gonna win. Did I watch anything else? I don't know. I did look, like, these aren't public, but I used to post reviews of movies just to my friends, and they got longer and longer as they went, to the point where I could, using Google's voice to text function, I could sit there and write out like a 500 to 1500 word review. And let's go ahead and bring this guy.
Fine, I'll want.
Let's go ahead and do this, because this doesn't really help him any. He would have been at 10.
Take this
at the end
blade.
anyways. I could draw a card, but I'm not going to. So I was just trying to save all of those reviews and looking at them, and seriously, there are some movies there that I don't even remember watching, which is kind of weird. And because that is the case, it's weird.
Take this blade.
The guy keeps telling me well played with Squelch. I've had enough of him. all he needs to do is get one good card to do 3 damage to me. That's all he needed. That is totally all he needed. That only helps him more. I'm starting to wonder if he was messing with me. There. What other movies have I watched? Just a question. I don't know. Really, when I look at Netflix, there's a lot in my like playlist, but not that much that I really want to watch at any specific time. Did I talk about the movie Cruel and Unusual? I watched that. Kind of a weird movie. I'd definitely say people should watch it.
Gul'dan
I don't want to
versus
spoil a
Rexxar.
lot to it. It's basically a guy ends up in
Your soul shall be
what
mine.
seems like a supernatural psychiatric facility slash prison, and they are saying that he killed his wife, and because of that he has to relive the crime over and over again, and so magically he will relive that. And it seems really weird, the concept, and that's why I watched it, and it was a pretty good movie. It's kind of a oddly balanced movie because really there's not anyone portrayed as a total bad person. There's no total bad guy, there's no total good guy in the whole movie. And that's kind of an interesting way to go about making a movie. I fast forward through the Human Centipede 3 because I wanted to say I've fast forwarded through all 3 of them. Honestly, the first one is a very gross, disgusting, horrific movie. The second one and third one are garbage, just trying to sell themselves on that name. They have no connection whatsoever. Literally, the second one is someone obsessed with watching the first movie, and the third one, I believe, is the same thing. Somebody obsessed with watching the first movie. So they're not even in the same universe.
Why do you call?
So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend anyone watch any of the versions, but if you felt the need, you had to watch any of those, watch the first one. And frankly, over the years, probably it won't be as cringeworthy as it is now, as people continue to push the border. Here we go. I think we can do this.
Small in size, huge in
Command.
I fast forwarded through a lot of things. That's kind of the problem, is I get so bored with movies. I thought for a brief second I might actually become a video reviewer, movie reviewer, but you know, it's just so many movies bore me that it's not realistic. It's just completely
We are in
unrealistic.
trouble now.
Toss the coin or not. That's as good of anything to toss.
Here we go!
Job done.
I would have actually preferred if this one got discarded, or that one would have been fine too. And so even though I was getting up to the point where for the movies I did review, I could write a 15-minute review on it. The truth of the matter is that there was tons of other ones that I wouldn't have reviewed. I never reviewed because I just started it, got aboard, fast forwarded through it. There's also some movies that I know are good and I just don't want to watch them. Like One of them is Hachi, A Dog's Tale, which is a story about a dog that goes to a train station and waits for its master every day, even years after his master passed away. And that actually happened somewhat. Most people believe it to be mostly true in Japan, and there is a statue of a dog, I believe, Shibuya station, named Hachi. Now, of course, the movie is an Americanized movie, so it's taking place in like a totally different place. I think that's a little bit of cultural appropriation that was gone, but the story is heartwarming, and you know, honestly, I don't think I want to watch heartwarming stories. There's probably something wrong with me in that statement, but I really don't feel like I do. We draw a card, and then we do this.
Job's done.
5, 12. Yeah, 5, 12 is pretty good. So that's like one of the movies where I would want to watch it, but I really don't want to watch it. And that kind of is where Netflix goes. I want to watch the Man from High Castle, which is on Amazon Prime, and I don't have Amazon Prime. I could never justify getting Amazon Prime from online because I just don't shop there often enough. And you get the free, let's see, how are we gonna do this? If I power this up and then destroy a friendly minion, that would work. So this is a 3/3 that will kill everything. Do that.
Job's done.
But I am still messed up. If I can't take him out in like the next turn, I've lost. You can just use this hero ability two times. I think a big problem is I've seen all the movies, enough of the movies and I just don't think I'm as big of a movie fan as I think I am. I like the weirder things. I don't just want to sit and watch like Back to the Future, which I probably never sat through that. As I am covering Lego Star Wars Journey, it's an interesting thought because I've actually probably never watched episode 1 of Phantom Menace. I saw an interesting YouTube video that I guess recently came out. We'll play one more game here, even though I'm not making any progress, about how Jar Jar Binks is actually a Master Sith that was manipulating everything from the whole time, and that George Lucas, for some reason, chickened out and changed the story before that was revealed because people hated Jar Jar Binks, although that doesn't make a lot of sense because if people hated Jar Jar Binks and he turned around and said, oh, but look here, Jar Jar Binks was the bad guy the whole time, I think people would have been turned around on that and said, you know what, you did it, George, you got us, you made us hate the right person. And so
Job's done.
That's an interesting fan theory. Unfortunately, it's not what you got. Let's see. How do I want this to go down? I don't want that guy to die. He won't die though. So job's done. But yeah, I don't think I've ever watched any of the prequels. And honestly, I'm not sure I've sat down and watched any of the other Star Wars movies.
Made to
So
fit.
my biggest experience as far as enjoying Star Wars is probably just... Oh, do I want to bring out another one of these guys, or do I want to just risk it?
You're in trouble now.
If I kill this guy, I can then be killed by any of these. Otherwise, I'm left to my own devices, and then he could kill me with these two. So let's go ahead and try this guy.
My popcorn.
So yeah, Lego Star Wars is probably my biggest experience for Star Wars. And even at that, even knowing I'm not really a Star Wars, I'm still kind of excited for Episode 7. I'm excited for other people being excited, I believe. Might be the best way to explain that. It's just... Go ahead and just kill these two. Job's done. Now, I am hoping Episode 7 is interesting and the start of something. I'm hoping all of my nieces and nephews will grow up in a world where there is a new style of Star Wars out there that really speaks to them and is something that they love. Like we've already seen a lot of commercialism with that, a lot of advertising, a lot of stuff. Even if it's just the Clone Wars, even if they just love the Clone Wars, and that's fine. But I want it to be something that they can enjoy. And I guess in some distant thought, I want it to be something I could enjoy, and maybe that's possible if I'm capable of enjoying anything anymore. Maybe I'm just too old and curmudgeonly to enjoy them. So, yeah, I want that to be good. Same way I want all video games that come out to be good. It would be great if we never had a bad video game release again.
Why do you call?
That would be fine.
Dare summon me, a paltry.
Not likely to happen. I saw Adam Moon's Everything that postulates a reason why there is the myth that video games are for boys, and puts it all down to after the first bust of video games in the 80s, when Nintendo came back out, it heavily advertised straight and only to boys, which at the time is a pretty Japanese thing to do. Just in their way of thinking is that, but also because they were putting the Nintendo Entertainment System in the toy aisle versus the entertainment aisle. That aisle, even in the early '83, was split between the pink aisle and the blue aisle for boys and girls, and they had to make a choice.
As the Master.
So, yeah.
Job's done.
I guess that's true. I guess that is the reason why people still kind of think that video games are for boys. Kind of like, in a lot of ways, I think there's other points there that need to be considered. The fact that there is actually a lot of, a very small list of things that are quote unquote for girls in a lot of people's mind. It's more, in my opinion at least, that there are a few things for girls and everything else is for boys. Much like how girls couldn't go to college in the suffrage times, and how they were given homemaking classes and only that, and they couldn't take any vocational classes, and they weren't expected to take jobs. I think that you really need to look at that. It's like sewing is for girls, cooking and cleaning is for girls, but cooking professionally is still for boys, and sewing professionally is for girls, but still a lot of fashion designers are men.
Drink with me, friend.
Albeit in that case, a lot of those are not who I'd consider chauvinistic men. Let's see. Deal 2 damage to all non-demon things. Go ahead and do that. And so I think when you really look at it from that perspective, that's kind of more of the reason, I would bet, or at least half of the reason why quote-unquote video games are for boys, is because there is literally nothing for girls. They are expected to do a very small things in chauvinist people's minds. And inherently the whole thought is just flawed. Video games are for like middle-aged men and women at this point.
Fine, I'll heal.
There's a way more people in their 30s playing video games these days than little kids, or little boys in particular. And destroy a friendly minion, do all its damage to this guy.
Fine, I'll wand.
There we go. Kill him, and then end the turn. Video games, in a weird way, are form of, like in all art, are for everyone and no one. In a lot of ways. Like, if it's an adults only title, then it is intended for adults only. I'll grant people that. But beyond that, there's tons of video games as a old male person that aren't for me. There are tons of Hello Kitty games that are designed for preschoolers, Wheels on the Bus games that are designed for preschoolers. So, absolutely, there's tons of games that aren't for me. And there are a lot of games that are for me. There are a lot of games that are for my demographic that I don't enjoy. I think art is for art's own sake more than anyone else. Wow. So, let's see, what are we gonna do? I've hit it at 3 episodes. I can really only do 3 episodes and talk is the problem. So at 40 minutes, I'm gonna take a break between this recording session and this recording and the next recording, and I'm gonna just play Hunter and Rogue, to the point where I get 2 victories on Rogue and 4 victories on Hunter and Mage. And then we'll come back and we'll try to get all of those done. If I fail in the next episode, next overtime episode, we're doing overtime, then we are just going to, I'll get whatever else done offline. And as inevitably, every time I do something offline, it's way easier and takes a lot less time. Something about not paying attention when you're talking, I would bet. We will get 160, that will put us at 5,005 gold, so that puts us nicely for the expansion that comes out in a couple of days, and then I will come back and do that. But that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to. Give me movie recommendations to watch in the comments. Sure, why not? I will test them out and probably get bored and fast forward through most of them. But inherently, I probably shouldn't be watching movies because I got so many video games I need to cover. If you want to support me, which would be greatly appreciated though, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right is a blue button that says support this channel. Click it and make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.